Hi foodies, welcome back to my kitchen. Today's recipe is one of my favorite foods. I've got this beautiful squid here, squid tube. It's almost a kilo. It's from the Sahara Sea, from the sea near the Sahara, or Saharan squid it's called. And I'm going to fill it with one of my favorite ingredients in the world. It is a Spanish rice black pudding from Burgos, which is a super ingredient. Some of you might be a bit squeamish about this, but I think it's a beautiful ingredient. Anyway, I'm gonna serve that. I'm gonna stuff it with all the bits and ends from the squid, the flap, the fins, and obviously the tentacles, which I've asked my fishmonger to chop up. This is being cleaned by my fishmonger, by the way. You can do the same. And I'm going to serve it with the tomato sauce, but I want that tomato sauce to have an element of seafood. So we're going to start with the sauce. It is a bit long, this process, but trust me, well worth it. So we start off by lighting our fire. Here we go, medium-high heat, and we put olive oil. I'm going to throw in a little bit of one celery stick with a roughly chopped up to give it extra flavor. And then what I'm going to do, because I've peeled some prawns, which I'm going to use in a completely different recipe, even though I think I'm going to chop up 4 or 5 of these and put them in the stuffing as well, because I think it will come through really nicely. And I've got here all the skins and the heads from my prawn. These are full of flavor and will make a beautiful stock. So these go in as well. And as I said, this is going to be a little bit the base of my sauce. Right, wash my hands, of course. I must say I love my gas cooker. This cooker heats up really fast. I'm not used to how fast it is, I must say. But I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. If you have a chance to buy one of these to take away to the countryside or whatever, that's super fantastic, and they give a lovely heat. Anyway, we're going to saute these a little bit. We're going to slightly season them with salt, not too much, because we're going to be adding this, as I said before, it's going to be quite a bit of a process, and we're going to be adding salt to all the steps, so we have to be a bit conservative with our seasoning, okay? These will get color super fast, very fast and very easily. And as soon as we've got a nice orange color, I'm gonna go in with my alcohol. First of all, a drop of brandy, which you can flambe if you want. You can do it if you want to. There you go. Bit of a show. And this will really release the flavors from the heads and the beautiful. Give us sweetness, even a sweetness. I really like brandy. I really like flambe. And then we're going to throw in a little bit of white wine. As I always say, if you don't drink it, don't put it in there. I hate cooking wine. What's cooking wine? It must be horrible stuff that can't be drunk. Anyway, once that has reduced slightly, we're going to add a little bit of water. We cover it up, and now we're going to bring back to the boil. I'm going to put this in my burner at the back so we can get on with the recipe. Okay, so that we leave to simmer 20-25 minutes. Should be more than enough. Get a saucepan, and as I said before, I've got the fins and all the tentacles from the squid. I've been chopped up by my fishmonger, and that's going to be part of my stuffing with the black pudding. So, a little bit of olive oil again, and we throw it all in. And there we go. Again, very slight seasoning, okay? Not too much. And we saute, let's bring the heat up a little bit, and we're going to saute these for about 5 minutes, more than enough. Once they're sauteed, I'm going to throw them into a bowl, let them cool down. I'm going to then throw in my black pudding, which I'll show you in a minute. Anyways, just leave me with this. I'm going to saute them high heat, 5-6 minutes, and I'll be back in a minute. So the stock is almost ready. We're still simmering away. We're just a few minutes away. I've sauteed and let them cool the bits and ends from the squid. And as that, it's time to make the stuffing. This is an incredible stuffing. What we need to do here is basically remove the skin, which comes off really easily, and throw in, while breaking it with your fingers, the black pudding. This breaks up really easily. And I'm afraid here you do have to use your hands. I'm sure most of you don't have a problem with that. So anyway, wash your hands. I'm going to add a couple more bits just to add to that flavour. I think it's going to go really well. I've got 4 big king prawn shrimps here, which I buy from my local supermarket. They're really, really good. These I use for everything. The heads are in the pot, and I'm just going to roughly chop them up. I think it'll be really nice to find these bits within the meat of the black pudding, and it will give a super flavour. And it's a combination that, believe it or not, works extremely well. I have a friend who has a restaurant in Las Palmas, and he puts langoustines with this morcilla and his combination, which is wonderful. All my love to you, Rafa. Get rid of that, because you won't be needing that anymore. And now basically you need to get your hands in. There's no seasoning required in here, because the morcilla, the black pudding in this case, is already very, very seasoned. So don't, avoid it. Okay, we're going to mix everything together, breaking up the morcilla, that's the whole idea, and make a stuffing. Instead of using sausage meat, we're using black pudding meat. There is a little bit of residual heat still with the squid, but that's fine because it helps dissolve the fat. It's a very fatty, black pudding is extremely fatty, so it actually helps dissolve the fattiness and allows all the ingredients to combine really well together. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now the next step is a trickier one, is where we stuff the squid. 1 second, guys. This requires a lot of patience, because it's not easy. We're talking something which is very slippery, and it's not easy. So be patient, take your time, and do it slowly, and just basically spoon by spoon, just throw it in. Obviously try and pack it to the back as much as possible, but just slowly, just get on with it. Let me do it, and I'll get back to you in a minute. So my squid is already full. As you can see, it's completely full, and it's been just enough to fill the whole thing. The idea now is to close it and seal it on the top. I'm using a couple of toothpicks, like if I was sewing. And I'm going to take it over to a really large pan. Obviously this is a very large squid. You can do it with smaller squid if you want. And I'm going to seal the outside, even get a little bit of colour. I'm not going to cook it, just get a bit of colour on the outside. So off we go to the pan. Right, my pan is screaming hot. I'm going to throw in some olive oil, and we're just going to seal our squid. Bloody hell, it's too big. Try and fit it as well as you can. I don't have a bigger pan. So we're going to be doing this on both sides. Get a bit of colour, get a seal on it, and we're back. So here you go, we've seared it and make it beautifully and golden. 2 reasons why we do that. This develops a stronger squid flavour, which is what I'm looking for, and it also seals the outside of the squid, keeping the moisture inside, avoiding for the whole thing to dry. So now we're going to let it cool down slightly, and we're going to get on with the sauce. I'm actually going to use the same pan which I've used for searing this. The reason why I'm going to let it cool is because I'm going to cut it now into rings, quite thick rings, and then I'm going to finish cooking it in the sauce. So let's get on with the sauce, okay? We use the same pan, so we've already got flavours in there, and we just put the fire on, and we throw in the stock, the little stock that I've made with the heads. That goes in and starts reducing. And now I'm going to use a tin jar tomato sauce. Obviously you can make your own, but I didn't have time, and I wanted to say, and I didn't want to also go through the process of making a sauce. This is a super nice sauce, homemade style. So that goes in. And we're going to use a little bit of water just to pick up the end of that sauce. I'm going to slightly reduce this for a few minutes, not too much because the sauce is already very, very developed. Mix these two together. And that's it, basically. We've got our sauce. Can't be too bad if it's that easy, huh? The smell of this is absolutely wonderful, guys. I wish you could be here to smell this. Anyways, I'm going to let this simmer ever so briefly because, as I said, the flavors are already developed and it doesn't need a lot. Just a few minutes to get a heat. I'm going to let that cool down, slice it, and then we're going to throw them in and in the oven for 25 minutes, and our meal will be ready. A lush treat. Can't wait. So we finished slicing it. This is the last slice that goes into the tomato sauce. Be very careful, it does crumble on this side. Very sharp knife and very, very slow movements because it will fall apart. So take a look at it, it's in the sauce, and now it goes into the oven for 25-30 minutes and to the table. I'll see you shortly. So foodies, here we are. I've made a side dish of mashed potatoes, which I think is going to go beautifully with this squid, filled with the morcilla, the black pudding, and that lovely tomato sauce. Bit of garlic bread, cheesy and pesto-y, and that's it. We're going to feast. Hope you like the video. Give me a thumbs up, obviously, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you shortly.